Hey, everybody, this is Barry Mankin here with the Holistic Home Health Podcast. We're here in Nashville, Tennessee, and we have a wonderful guest today. I want to introduce you to Dani Williamson, and she is going to talk to us about everything related to health, and especially with the thyroid. That's one of her specialties. And we're going to talk about this bridge that we've been discussing the past several episodes between the environmental community and the medical community, and see what it looks like from her end. And just want to welcome you, Dani. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. It's about time.
Yeah, exactly.
Scheduled, right?
Yeah, we've been trying to get this together for a while. So, but we're both very, very busy, especially her. And getting her away from her practice is difficult because she's very, very busy. But anyway, I wanted to talk about we're going to go over like just the beginnings, how you got here, what your mission is. Give us some of your history, wherever you want to start.
Yeah, I grew up in complete chaos in my house, and I had a lot of childhood trauma. I had a grandfather that died by suicide. I had a child molester for a stepfather. I had one that beat me up my senior year in high school. My mom was mentally unstable and tried to kill herself multiple times. And I started with chronic gut issues when I was in my teens, chronic diarrhea, and 4 colonoscopies before I was 40 years old. Endoscopies, barium enemas. I was diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome. Then I started itching uncontrollably in my 20s. And then I was diagnosed with lupus in my 30s and fibromyalgia. I mean, it was insane. And then I was put on antidepressants. I was in a bad marriage and I needed to get out of that. And I felt terrible. And I had 2 little kids and it was one big mess.
Yeah.
Fast forward to age 44, after going to graduate nurse practitioner school, I was the oldest one in my class, got out at 44, lost everything, got divorced, still struggling with all the symptoms, right?
Yeah.
And I went to work in Franklin, where I met you, for Cool Springs Family Medicine, and Dr. Kalb looked at me, leaned in one day, and he said, "Dani, what are you eating?
Yeah.
Don't you know your diet controls your symptoms?
Yeah, you are what you eat."
What? Do you take digestive enzymes and probiotics, and do you know your food sensitivities? It turned the entire trajectory of my life around.
Yeah.
My life, thousands of patients' lives now, and hopefully the next generation of my kids and so forth.
Yeah.
When I realized what was at the end of your fork could heal you or kill you. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Very simple, not easy. Right?
Right.
Right? And so that was the first thing that I did, as I cleared my gut, healed my gut. I had not yet learned, and Vanderbilt did not teach me
That's
this.
what I was going to ask you.
They didn't teach me
They
about
didn't give you
this,
any of that.
none of this, but they also didn't teach me about childhood trauma.
Yeah.
And how the body keeps score.
Holds on to all that.
Always.
Yeah.
And so my specialty, which just happens to be thyroids and autoimmune thyroiditis, Hashimoto's, many of my patients have high childhood trauma scores through the ACE questionnaire, which we talk about in the book. And they have high trauma scores and they have thyroid issues or they have gut issues. Well, think about this. This is your voice. This is your voice. Your thyroid is your voice. It's the 5th chakra in your body with energy and all that. But many children going through trauma, or it doesn't have to be children, it could be an adult, they feel like they have no voice. And that trauma settles right here. Right here. And that thyroid is the master gland. It controls everything in our body, our metabolism, our weight, our hair, our skin, our everything, fertility, cholesterol. So when I learned about trauma and how it affects the entire body, not just the thyroid or not just at the time, it took my personal healing to the whole next level.
Yeah.
And now with my patients as well, right? Because now I address the trauma, which I didn't do for the first 5 or 6 years in practice because I didn't know. And when you know better, you do better. And it's the same with your diet. So that's what I do. I'm very blessed to have a great population of patients that, put up with me and my obnoxiousness about how, let me tell you something. You can choose to not change your diet. That's fine. You have free will. We all have free will.
Yeah.
You can eat all the gluten you want and all the dairy you want. but you're not going to get better.
That's right.
Right? It's the same in your job, right? You can cover up everything you want or ignore it, but if you don't fix the root cause of what's causing the
Always.
mold or the leak or what have you, or for here, the health issues, right, will never get to get you to 100%.
Yeah.
And I tell people every day, which we were just talking about, chronic lifestyle diseases are just that. Those are diseases that you turn on by your lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you turn off by your lifestyle. That's the beauty of it, right? But you have to change your lifestyle.
You have to be intentional.
You bet
with
you
your
do.
with your living, with everything that you do. And there's so many of those things that we take for granted that we assume is good. In my business, it's okay. Hey, I'm just living in my house. Everything should be fine, right? We just
Right.
don't know. In the case with food and water, we should know. I mean, it's on. You have a label typically,
exactly
and if
right.
it's in a package, that's your first red flag.
Yeah,
But
if it has a label on it, right? if it's in a box, a bag, a can, a tube, a roll, and it's got a label with a list on it this long,
That's right.
then, guess what? Your body doesn't recognize that as food. That is frankenfood. That is foreign to your body. And you know what? God made one ingredient food. I should have brought a whole plate in here.
Yeah.
Apples, oranges, bananas, a piece of salmon, a piece of chicken, a piece of steak. That's one ingredient food that we cook up at home and mix up and make things, but it's not processed.
Right.
I tell patients, if you look in your cabinets and your refrigerator and your freezer, and if those products will still be there in 6 months and be okay, or a year, that's not food.
that's formaldehyde.
That's formaldehyde. That's right. Those are chemicals, and your body doesn't recognize
Right.
that. And this generation of children right now, the CDC has reported it is the first generation of children who are going to be in a casket before their parents.
Yeah.
That is not acceptable.
Not acceptable. Yeah.
It's the first time in the history of America, maybe the world, I don't know, that we have buried our children before us.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's look at it. Look at the fat children. Fat is not a great word anymore, but there are fat children
Right.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And
Diabetes,
adults as
obesity,
well.
yeah.
Diabetes, that's right, obesity. But they're not exercising. They're not eating well.
Mm-hmm.
We're driving through, Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Taco Bell. Chick-fil-A has 55 ingredients in one sandwich.
Yeah.
You can't find those ingredients on the website anymore once they took them down.
Right.
The PowerPoint that I give at conferences shows that. And I say, what do you think this frankenfood is? And, people guess it or don't, but they have no idea that what they're eating is loaded with antibiotics and chemicals and hormones. In fact, on their website, it says they're not taking the antibiotics out because they can't find enough healthy chickens.
Exactly. And when we think about this, we always talk about being preventative,
Yes.
with our homes, with our bodies,
Yes.
and prevention is always the best medicine. The problem is we live so fast.
You bet we do.
Here that everything is reactive. Everything is a response to what drives America, which is making money. And I'm guilty of it because I'm trying to work my business going 90 to nothing, and for me to settle down and take time and prepare something, or just give a little bit of extra on the front end to make sure that I'm set up for success for the day with my eating and my drinking.
Meal prepping.
Meal
You
prepping,
cheat
huge.
when you're not prepared.
Correct.
That's when you open up the box, the bag, the can, whatever.
Or the drive-through.
It's exactly right. Or drive-through to the drive-through. I tell patients every day, cooking is self-care.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, Dani, you don't understand. What do you mean you don't understand? I've raised my kids alone for 22 years. They are now grown, so it's just me in the house. Still a single mom, still single. I cook for myself every week.
Yep.
Now, not every. Last night I went out and ate, at one of our favorite places in Franklin with an employee of mine. But that's rare because cooking is self-care, and it's not complicated.
Yeah.
I cooked a roast 2 weeks ago in the crock pot, back old school crock pot, which I love, and it's real simple, one ingredient food,
Yeah.
and you feel better.
Yeah.
When you eat better, you feel better. When you drink enough water, when you drink enough water, you feel better. I mean, one of the number one reasons for fatigue and headaches is dehydration.
Exactly.
Dehydration.
Yep.
We can drink all the coffee we want. That's fine. I'm a coffee lover, but you've got to cup for cup replace
You know what's
it.
in there?
No, what's in it?
Mushrooms.
Oh, you've got mushrooms in there. Well, that's good.
Not
I wasn't offered any mushrooms.
Well, this one came from the house, so and they're the kind without the psychedelics.
Don't take mushrooms from people you don't know.
Don't do that.
So I would
pick them out of the woods without knowing.
No, that's right. He's probably grown them off in his mold thing somewhere,
Yeah.
But seriously, the what I do is common sense. It's common sense. And I have 6 steps that I work with patients, and I really do hold people's feet to the fire.
Yeah.
It's kind of like therapy. What good is a therapist or a psychiatrist if they just lean in and listen to you and, oh man, that was rough.
Yeah.
Gosh, how did that
And you
make
just
you
recycle
feel?
that all again.
How do you feel about that? Well, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
You've got to hold somebody's feet to the fire and walk that journey with them. And I tell my patients, if I'm not doing this job, then we need to find a better one for you, somebody else that's going to walk this health journey with you, because I watched my mom die with Alzheimer's disease, and a healthcare provider, a doctor, multiple ones, who just patted her knee every time she went in and said, Carolyn, let's, refill your memory medicine and your blood pressure medicine. And that's not a healthcare provider. That's malpractice, in my opinion.
Yep. We always say that a prescription without a good diagnosis is malpractice, whether that's with the house or with the body. And it works the same. It works because what happens on our end is you get some contractors, you need this, or you need that. Right. But with the body, sometimes it's like, you have Alzheimer's. Here's this medication. They just check a box. However that works with their, kickback on the medication. And then they say, okay, you're on a trajectory. It's not a good one. We can't do anything about it, which so much of this on our end is like, hey, that's a flag. If somebody has a cognitive issue and it's recurring, what are the environmental concerns? Has any of that even been addressed? At least take that out of the equation and maybe, like to your point, allow the body to heal, even if it's a percentage.
You bet.
It's huge.
So that's interesting. I was telling you earlier, my mom was 78 when she died with full-blown Alzheimer's. Now, the pulmonary disease killed her because she smoked for 62 years. She started smoking at 12.
Yep.
Got her first cigarette at 12 and started smoking, right? And never stopped.
Yeah.
Like literally a couple of weeks before she died, she said, she did stop then, but clearly she stopped when she died. But before she stopped, about a year before, she said, I could smoke a cigarette from here to that window right now, Danielle.
You're right.
And I said, she just never, got over that craving. But what I was going to say is she, the environmental side of memory. So every 66 seconds, someone's diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And now it's getting right. They say, I think it's 2030. Don't quote me on that. Every 33 seconds it's going to be.
Really?
We are being diagnosed and dying with Alzheimer's disease at rapid, and it's happening younger and younger and younger.
And autism, same thing, right?
Autism, same thing.
Yeah.
But my mom, when I bought the home I grew up in and was remodeling it, remember I called you and I had it checked because I could smell it, but I couldn't find it anywhere.
Right.
We literally stripped it to the studs because she smoked in it for so many decades. I had to get rid of everything. Basically, I had a shell.
Yeah.
And then we found this one little area of mold in the basement with concrete. And I was like, what? Well, come to find out, it turned into an entire remediation of multiple grands of dollars. It was like crazy, but I brought it to you and it was like so many kinds of mold in it. I have no doubt. And the fireplace was one of the worst places that I had mold.
Those
the laundry
chases.
room.
Yep.
There were other places as well, but I have no doubt that my mom living in that for decades contributed greatly to her Alzheimer's disease and her memory loss.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
Yeah. So there's so much that comes into play with that. Certain molds, we've talked about mycotoxins when we were on your Sunday night service one time. Was it like a year ago or year and a half?
I think it's been a year and a half.
Man, we got to do that again.
She was still alive and it's been a while.
Yeah. But there's so many environmental exposures that contribute to that blood-brain barrier. When you get to a smaller size, it gets past our filters. Once we get to that 2.5 microns, which is kind of like that threshold where everybody says, okay, that's what we're looking for mold. Once we get past that and we get to that 0.3 microns, we're getting into small stuff. And whatever's on that stuff, those particulates that are in the air, that really pretty stuff, when the light shines through the window, right? And it starts coming through, and then all of a sudden you see, look at all that wonderful stuff with the morning. That's bad. I tell people, like, I can measure every one of those and tell you what's on it. And it's either viral, it's fungal, it's bacterial, right? Who knows what's on that content? And once it gets to a small enough size, now we get to that blood-brain barrier really fast, because you're just inhaling it, and it's getting into your sinus cavity and right to your frontal lobe. So where does all that stuff happen? What I typically see, other than radon itself, which is another exposure that does have studies for Alzheimer's and dementia showing a direct correlation, it's mold exposure as well, because you're getting that cognitive decline from all that exposure in, and it disrupts everything that's supposed to work as it should in those fatty tissues, right? I talked about this. You remember, I think when we met, it was actually Dr. Deering that introduced us, right? Yeah. And shout out to Dr. Deering. He was on our last podcast series, and we had a wonderful conversation about these things. And of course, he's more into that cognitive side and about the neurological aspects of that, because he believes that the brain controls everything, which it does. And so we kind of got into a little bit of this as it relates to how it works into the thyroid side. So it's interesting to see from your perspective and your experience how you've actually experienced it from a customer point of view, in the sense of, if you were my client at that time, we would have drawn that line together. And I'm so sorry to hear that again, just.
Well, and I looked at, and as I've cleaned out the house the last several years, and, I bought it and I'm remodeling it and all the things. And, I mean, frankly, she could have never afforded to fix that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a small investment in it.
No, but maybe got her out of that environment.
Yes. Yeah. And I put her in she was in assisted living, but as I've found notes that she's written and notes for the doctors, and it was all of these symptoms that go hand in hand with mold exposure or, fatigue. I mean, literally handwritten notes: fatigue, chronic fatigue, extreme fatigue, shortness of breath. Now, she also smoked like a freight train, but shortness of breath, right? She had some rashes, itchy. I mean, it was so interesting. Yeah. All the things. And brain fog. She mentioned brain fog. And she'd have these lists when she would go to the doctor, I guess. And, once again, it was never addressed. Yeah. And nobody ever thought to say, hey, what are you living in every day? Where are you sleeping every day? We think about mattresses and we think things about that when I'm talking about sleep with patients. What's your bedroom like? Well, now because of you and what you do, because I didn't know anything about mold. I mean, apparently mold does not affect me and as badly maybe as it does other people.
Yeah, you don't necessarily have that response. Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. But now, I don't know, maybe I do and I don't realize it. But now.
I hear it turns your hair red.
Oh my gosh. Well, I am so exposed. That was 18 years of growing up in that house over there. It turned my, but now it's on my radar, just like trauma is with patients on their visits, right? Okay. If we're doing all these things and metabolically, your labs look incredible, right? Your thyroid is cranking out there. I mean, your labs are great. Your hormones are working well. Your thyroid is great. Your D3 level's optimal. Your B vitamins, magnesium, iodine, everything is really doing great. I mean, you've got to turn inward, and because of you, I'm like, where do you spend the most of your time, right? Yeah. And a big question that I always ask patients is, do you feel better when you leave your house on vacation? Right. Now, that's a double-edged sword because most people do feel better when they leave on vacation. I always do. Right?
A little wine helps.
Yeah, a little wine helps, right? But but do you feel better when you leave? Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. Or do you feel better even when you go to work? Right? I mean, but there's a lot of sick buildings out there too that people work in, mold buildings and all those. But so now because of you, it is on my radar. It's got to be something in the house. Yeah, I don't know what it is because I'm not a house doctor. I'm not Dr. House, but I know who to send you to.
There was a pun there. That was good. That was good. It's a little plug. See, it was subliminal, but it was there.
That's right. And the thing is, as providers, I really feel like when I was in school, and like I said, I was the oldest one in my class, and I had this great family practice preceptor and mentor. And he's, because I'm a family practice nurse practitioner, right, who stepped out of the boat 15 years ago to actually practice real medicine, right? Preventative medicine.
Yeah.
But he said to me, Dani, family practice doctors are not specialists. We should be the quarterback. We have to have a toolbox a mile long of people to send our patients to.
Yeah, good
because
network.
we're not cardiologists.
Right.
I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a urologist.
Right.
I'm not a proctologist, for crying out loud,
Right.
or a gynecologist. I am a family practice nurse practitioner. And so that's fantastic, but you have to know where to get your people to.
Yeah.
And you are a huge piece. Four Corners Environmental is of my toolbox, right? So here it is. Here's Dr. Deering, here's so-and-so, wherever, you know.
The network is huge. And this is one thing I love about what I get to do.
Yes.
When I bring you guys in, it's like, it's our network, it's our family. And this is our area. This is our town. And we're trying to like change the culture by making people healthy. And it has to be a twofold thing. It has to be that bridge.
You bet it has to be that bridge, you know, and you can get their house healthy. And it's so interesting because the side effect of getting their house healthy, they start to heal. Now they may need extra support, right? And I don't treat mold, right? I send them to Dr. Potter or wherever, Jamie, all the people we have in our town that treat mold. Because you need a specialist on that. You don't need somebody who works with thyroids mainly and hormones and guts, right? You need somebody who knows exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because you can hurt people.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't. And that's the same with Lyme disease. I have the best of the best in Lyme. I have the best of the best with mold. I have the best of the best with autism. You don't want just anybody managing your autistic child or you if you're autistic.
Yeah, right.
It is all about building the bridge, building the communities, building the toolbox, and you know this. I'm a huge believer in a rising tide lifts all boats.
That's right. Amen.
And if you have a healthcare provider that's not helping you walk that journey or has a toolbox, then you have the right to find a new provider. Period.
Yeah.
They don't even care if you leave their practice. In fact, they won't even know.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
That you ever transferred your records out.
Right.
And, we have such loyalty to our people because we're loyal people, right?
Yeah.
And, I've been with them for 30 years. Well, how's that working for you? You're on 8 medications. You can't remember your name at all, hardly,
Right.
You can barely get out of bed in the morning. You hurt like crazy. You've gained 50 pounds the last 2 years. How's that working for you?
Yeah. I mean, the whole goal of what we're doing is that they shouldn't call us again.
Absolutely.
Annual
I worked a lady out of my
it.
practice just yesterday. Oh my gosh. Perfect.
I bet that
Perfect
felt
segue.
good.
It was so perfect. I said to her, everything that she came for, which was gut issues, everything she came for is better. And I hadn't seen her for 9 months. And I mean, it's like completely reversed. She knew her food sensitivities. We worked on all that.
Yeah.
And I said to her, I'm going to tell you, I don't have any reason to see you ever again. And she started crying. And I said, I really don't. I mean, if you need something or want to just come hang out, come on. But, I'd save my money and put it towards good food.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
And being preventative. And some of the modalities that we talked about a long time ago that we all do. Speaking of which, we were talking about our network, right?
Yes.
There's levels or layers, I should say, of networks, right? So we have our Nashville network, if you will. Tell me about what you have going on at your place. You have a new network.
I do.
Within your own building and a new building and all kinds of new things going on. Tell me what you have going on.
It's getting closer to my vision of what I wanted 15 years ago. Getting closer. And my son just graduated medical school, so he still has 4 more years of residency before he comes back.
I was going to ask about
as
that.
the
4 more
family
years.
practice doctor
Awesome.
with a sports medicine fellowship and addiction medicine. He wants to
Wonderful.
combine those. So that'll be even closer. But my goal of a wellness center is getting there. It's not there yet, but it's getting there. I have my clinic, and then I have my supplement store that's a totally separate, Wild and Well, open 6 days a week. That's connected to the clinic, but separate business. And now I have 4 providers in there that I have an endocrinologist, Dr. Kelsey Dexter, who is brilliant. And she's a big believer in circadian medicine and the light. And, Lord, we'd have every blue light blocker on. I should have worn my blue light blockers in here. Actually, I don't know what I'm thinking.
These are actually
they're in my backpack. But Dr. Dexter, endocrinologist, who comes one Friday a week, or one Friday a month, I'm sorry. And then I have full-time there, Dr. Chris Motley, who is fantastic, kinesiologist, Chinese medicine, Dr. chiropractor.
Yep.
And he's in there full-time. And Dr. Anise Khalif, who is a medically trained, medical doctor, medically trained Chinese medicine doctor, traditional Chinese medicine.
Interesting.
Acupuncture, cupping, does all the things, gets your body type, are you fire, wood, earth, all the things. I don't even know what he's doing in there. They come from all over the country to see him.
Really?
And then I have the best pelvic floor physical therapist. I've been trying to get Bahardi in there for 5 years.
Yeah.
She's now in there full time. Pelvic floor physical therapy, which is for men and women, but she also does cranial sacral work.
Oh, really? I've heard about that.
Whoa.
I heard it's very healing.
I didn't think I needed it. I was like, I don't want that. I want a massage. I don't want cranial sacral work. What are you talking about laying there? My nervous system is fine.
Right.
Let me tell you, that work, cranial sacral, right?
Yeah.
Cranial sacral, moving the energy, getting you out of sympathetic, right? Fight or flight.
Yeah, we were talking about the trauma stuff.
That's
this
right.
This is where you hold all that stuff.
Oh, you bet.
Yeah.
Into parasympathetic,
Yeah.
your rest and digest state. And you're just laying there and I don't know what she's doing, but you are so relaxed and tears just flow.
Yeah.
Cranial sacral. She's excellent. So Dr. Gokhale, Dr. Khalif, and Dr. Motley. I've got a guy where is he? Where is Dr.? She's from India. Dr. Motley's Korean. And gosh, Dr. Anise is... he's from somewhere in Europe as well. And so I've got this, and then you've got this redneck from Gilbertsville, Kentucky. Me. That would be me in there. And we have this great wellness center that's really kicking into place. I need more space. I need my own building.
That's one heck of a building.
Well, I would love to have a therapist in there, and a massage therapist.
Yeah.
And, there's multiple things I would like to have in there. But we really are bringing it together: mind, body, spirit, physical, and then if you need a vitamin D, if you need a supplement, fantastic. The supplement store is open to the public.
Yeah,
they come from all over, and we ship. But not everybody needs supplements. I tell people these are supplements.
Yeah,
they're not substitutes.
Yeah.
You can't
have your foundation
a bad diet.
That's the name of it's supplement.
That's exactly right. It's a supplement. And so, yes, we probably need some D3, and most people probably need magnesium, and most people probably need a fish oil, and maybe a probiotic and
Always
a
fish oil.
multivitamin. Those 5 things, those are my basic 5.
Yeah,
right? Danny's
say
5.
say that again, because
a probiotic.
Yep.
Most people don't get enough bacteria or good bacteria in their diet. Right. A fish oil.
Always fish. I take a lot of that stuff.
And you want a good one.
Yeah.
You want a good fish oil that doesn't have mercury in it, and is not rancid. And if you burp your fish oil, then you've got rancid fish oil.
Yeah.
You should not be burping it. Cut it open, smell it, taste it. It's
you can
rancid.
smell it.
Absolutely. If that's the case,
interesting.
then throw it in the trash.
Basically Walmart.
You bet. Walmart, Costco, Target, Sam's Club. Don't ever buy fish oil. Anything that's liquid inside, like a D3 or a vitamin E or even a K, that sits on the docks and gets hot and cold. Yeah. Amazon, worst place in the world you can buy.
Yeah.
A lot of fake supplements on there, but we're not here to talk about it. But a multivitamin, a great a great probiotic, a good fish oil, magnesium.
Yeah, that's big. I take that every day
and D3.
Too. Yeah. Yep.
They tell us that approximately 80% of the population is deficient in magnesium.
Always.
It has over 300 functions in your body.
Yeah.
If you have restless legs, magnesium. If you have migraine headaches, magnesium. If you can't poop, magnesium.
Yeah.
If you can't sleep, magnesium. If you're ADD, ADHD, OCD, depressed or anxiety, magnesium.
just
high blood pressure,
helps level everything out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the magnesium glycinate, not citrate. Citrate helps you poop, but that's, I don't recommend citrate for people, but magnesium glycinate or threonate that crosses the blood-brain barrier. It's the only magnesium that crosses that blood-brain barrier.
Interesting.
It's threonate. Yeah. And early memory loss, threonate is for sure what you would want to be taking. So we do have a great clinic there. We do a lot of events, and I
we
my
have one
Sunday
coming
night.
up.
We have the Clinic Cross Saturday, September 27th. Huge, which I started 5 years ago with Dr. Charles Bell, and which is one of my favorites. So that we're in a in a business office area together, and we wanted to just promote our favorite, like Four Corners Environmental, right? Our favorite chiropractors, our favorite dentist, our favorite all the things. Basically, a referral source, our toolbox.
Yeah.
And we started it 5 years ago, and now it has grown. It's going to be on a Saturday this time, 10 to 2.
Okay.
It's on Saturday.
10 to 2, it's safe.
The radio station's going to be there broadcasting Hippie Radio all day long, doing live remotes and interviews.
Awesome.
We have 42 vendors so far. Remember, we only had like 10 the first year.
I know.
And it has grown. And so it's my gift back to the community. It's free. It's free to set up. It's free to come to it. And supplements and discounts. I mean, you name it, it's going on for 4 hours that day. We're blocking the entire parking lot off.
It was a big event last year.
It was a huge event last year, and it was our first time to do it. But now we're doing it on a Saturday.
Yeah.
So this is the first time we've done it on a Saturday, and I hope to goodness we have hundreds and hundreds of people from Middle Tennessee and Alabama and Kentucky show up. But again, it's our gift back that, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah.
And there's more than just me out there, right? There's a million of me out there. Now, you may like me better, or you may like somebody else better. So we bring in the competition.
Yeah.
Because it's not competition.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's all about getting people better.
Yeah. God gives us our money.
That's right.
That's right. We got plenty of sustainability. We're all just trying to help everybody, and we're all trying to grow together and do the things.
You bet we are.
For our community, and we're a part of that community. So, we'll all thrive.
You bet we will.
Yeah.
And what we are teaching people on a daily basis, how to live wild and well in a sick and tired world.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, it takes a stinking village
to
do this.
You're exactly
You
right.
can't do it on your own. And, there's so much free education out there for people who do what I do, people who do what you do. We put out free education all day, every day on social medias, podcasts, right? Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, all the things.
Yeah.
I mean, X, I don't go in there, but I don't even understand that. But
I don't understand half
I don't
of them,
understand it either. I don't know.
I got people that manage all
newsletters and free things and just so much education. If you can't afford an integrative provider, because most of the people who do what I do
it's out of pocket.
do not take insurance, because I spend 90 minutes with you on the very first visit. You're there almost probably 2.5 hours by the time it's over with, and you can't take insurance and do that.
Yeah.
And so we give a ton of free education all day, every day. I shared a video recently when I was at the oral surgeon, and I asked for the thyroid guard. Give me the thyroid guard before you're making doing my x-rays.
Yeah.
Well, I shared the video of me and the guard and them talking about nobody asked for it, right? You get a mammogram, you get an x-ray at the dentist, you go get a CT, whatever. They have thyroid guards.
Yeah.
You've got to protect this. Radiation on the thyroid is not good.
Right.
And so free things like that out there that people, just little nuggets.
Yeah, wonderful. All kinds of stuff going on at your practice. You've got, you're well-rounded with so many different people. It's amazing.
That's great.
And you're trying to do more even with that. So
I'm hoping. I'm going to be 60 in January, and I don't,
That's
don't you
awesome.
feel this urge? I mean, you're a lot younger than me, but don't you feel this urge that we have? I feel so good. Let me tell you, I know what it's like to be sick.
Yeah.
And I know what it's like to feel great. And I feel better at 59 3/4 than I ever did at 39 3/4. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
But I don't have 50 years probably in front of me. I mean, I may have 50 years in front of me.
We keep doing what we're doing. Who knows?
I mean, it's possible.
We could rewrite the whole playbook.
But, probably the active 50 year, probably 30 years really. And that's pushing it. You know, honestly, the average age in America is 78 point something, average age of or death, right? Well, that's not much longer. That's 18 more Christmases. I want a lot more
That's right.
than that. So I feel this sense of urgency that we got to get the word out.
Yeah.
Because again, if you were born healthy, you don't have to live sick. And it's very simple, but it's not easy. You got to clean up the diet. You got to sleep well. You have to poop well. You've got to poop, right? You have to.
Yeah.
And people who don't poop and the doctor tells them that's okay. Some people just poop once a week. Hello.
I've been told many times that I'm full of stuff.
Yes, exactly right. So,
Different.
right? I mean, I poop
Maybe
like a goose all the time, but I'm sure I'm full. I'm still been told I'm full of it. But, you know, that's one thing I've never had is constipation issues. But people do. And when you're constipated, you're not healthy. Think about
That's
that.
right.
That's where we eliminate everything, right?
Get the toxins out.
Toxins, all of that.
Everything.
You got to eat well, sleep well, move well.
Yep.
You have to move.
Yeah.
Our bodies are designed to move. When you move well, you sleep better. When you sleep better, you eat better. It's all connected, and you poop better. Yeah. And you got to de-stress well. We could do a whole show on stress. Stress will kill
guilty.
You.
Yeah. Every summer, I get so stressed out. I add weight. I do all the things. Like, I'm probably 30 pounds up than what I was last winter.
What happens in the summer? We get hot and heat, and I don't know.
No, my business takes over my life.
Because...
and I have no time. I just keep going and keep going.
See, the summer slows down for us. It's always fall and winter. Everybody leaves.
Well, what happens is we get all the relative humidity in Tennessee.
Well, that's what I was thinking. It's the humidity.
And the mold goes crazy, right? And so we are booked. And it's usually weeks out. And of course, you know, we're growing and all the things, just like any small business.
Yeah.
You know, you feel the pain points of any small business and you get stressed and then you find ways to do things. And it's just that ebb and flow. You're just, instead of like that yo-yo effect, you're trying to hum. And I'm guilty of it. And so all these things, like I know these things, and unless I put them into practice, it's not going to help me live longer. Right. So,
no.
So I'm guilty of it.
And you can eat well and sleep well and move well and poop well, but if your stress is off the charts, I mean, it will absolutely destroy your life. And
oxidative stress goes in with that.
Oxidative stress gets into that as well, you know. But I tell people every day, you've got to automate, eliminate, and delegate everything you can out of your life.
I like that.
AED. That's what brings you back to life. If
delegate.
You fall off the treadmill,
that's right.
At the gym, it's the AED, the external defibrillator. Boom, that brings you back. AED. You have to do the exact same thing with your life.
Yeah.
Automate everything you can. Eliminate everything. We don't have to do everything. Why do we think we have to do everything?
Yeah.
And women, we are the worst. Nobody does it as good as we do, right? We think we're multitaskers, right? But nothing ever gets done 100% right or 100%.
I can't even chew bubble gum and walk at the same time.
Right? And the older I get, the more I just automate. I mean, I just eliminate off my plate. Like if I didn't want to do this today, honestly, I would have called you up on the phone and said, Barry, look, I really just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's nothing wrong with saying that.
No, there's not. Absolutely.
But women don't say no. Men have men set boundaries better than women do. I believe.
Yeah.
I don't have the research to prove that, but
what I see, I
see thousands of women a year.
Yeah.
And Danny, you know, I do Thanksgiving every year. Well, do you enjoy it?
Right.
No. Well, then send a group text out right now in July that, you know what, guys, I will not be able to do Thanksgiving this year.
Yeah.
You have permission to do that. Now, I'll help anyone that wants to do it, but I will not be able to host it this year. It's not a good time for me.
Right.
And until further notice, I cannot do Thanksgiving.
Right.
Simple as that. You don't have to explain anything.
That's healthy. Exactly.
You bet it's healthy. So, I mean, I'd hate for you to have to go to Cracker Barrel, but if you go to Cracker Barrel for once a year and eat it, you know, it's fine, you know, because all the gluten and the dairy. But,
oh, my gosh, yeah.
It's okay.
And MSGs.
Oh, dear. Oh, yeah. I consulted with them. They called me in like 8 years ago to consult with them on their menus. And it was funny. At the time, Sandy was the president. Now we have a new, apparently, president of Cracker Barrel, but that's a whole nother story.
Different story.
Yeah. Anyway, I was in there for 8 hours down in Lebanon, and I was like, I can't do anything with this menu. I mean, I don't know what I would do. It's a gluten restaurant, right? I mean, it's all
comfort
gluten.
food.
It's biscuits. That's why you go to Cracker Barrel, chicken and dumplings. What do you want from me?
Right.
And so
you get a gluten-free biscuit. Nobody wants that.
I said, you could put a little like green leaf or something beside things that say, you know, gluten light or gluten whatever. It can't be gluten-free. There's no gluten-free in a biscuit restaurant. But there's gluten the particles are everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's funny. But, you getting back to that eliminating, because I got a little ADD. We have the right to do that. And when you start eliminating things and delegating things, like, you may not do it the way Melpa would want you to do it.
Yeah.
But if she delegated it to you, that's a beautiful thing. And you get it done. But then we have to be quiet and not say, well, why didn't you do it like that? Or I wouldn't have done it that way. Well, then don't friggin' delegate.
Well, exactly. Yeah. I'm literally reading a book right now that says buy back your time.
Amen.
And I have a wonderful person in my life that gave me that book. And she said, hey, I see that you're stressed all the time. You're doing the business thing. You're a dad, you're a husband, all that sort of thing. And she gave me this book, and it is probably one of the best slaps on the head that I could get, because it puts, I experience this, I experience that. It's this holistic thing. Again, it's that living intentionally. And guess when I read? When I'm in the sauna. When I'm getting the stuff out,
you bet.
It's sweating.
You bet.
I'm putting stuff in. So it's, what do they call it? Habit stacking? Is that one of those terms?
You bet.
So I try to do all the different modalities, and when I'm doing it, I'm reading that book, How to Buy Back My Time, because for me to even just have time to sweat is one thing when I'm in my busy season in the summer.
You bet.
And so if I make time for that, then I'm also investing and reminding myself to, again, smooth out those bumps.
You bet.
And try to hum a little bit better. You know?
Bet. And habit stack, absolutely. And that sauna is so important. And the benefits of sauna, I preach on it nonstop about the benefits of sauna.
I think we got that through you whenever you had one of those specials, and it is awesome.
It's the best sauna. I think it's the best portable sauna on the market, and you get a discount. We have a $100 discount with code Dani for, it's Relax Saunas with an S on it, .com. It's a portable sauna. As business owners, it's very difficult. But what I try to remember, and this has been very intentional for me in 2025, is my word for 2025 was unemotional. It's not sexy. It is like, I always have all these inspirational words, I choose for the year, unemotional.
Yeah.
And what I mean about that is exercise. I'm just taking the emotion out of it, right? Because I don't really enjoy it. But you got to move your body.
Oh,
right?
gosh, yeah.
So I just take it out. Nike coined it. I couldn't just say just do it because they did it. Yeah. That's exactly what you got to do. You just got to do it.
Yeah.
You just got to do it, whether it's read the book or whatever you have to do. Meal prep. Just take the emotion out of it, man. Because everything we do in our life sets us up for what kind of shape we're going to be in when we're 80 years old.
Yep.
And when you start getting older, when you hit that 50 mark, 60 mark, I mean, let me tell you, there's not much room for error over here.
And you have to do the things.
You bet you do, because I witnessed my mom the last 2 years pretty much could not stand up out of this chair.
Yeah.
She could not move her legs like this. You have to be able to stand up and move. And whatever we're doing right now, whether you're driving through the fast food restaurant, whether you're opening up the frozen pizza, whether you decide to lay on the couch and binge Netflix, is that setting you up for where you want to be when you're 75, 80, 85 years old?
And it's having that awareness to just say, live mindfully, live intentionally.
You bet.
Don't be reactive. Don't, and I know that, all kinds of things, especially emotional things, which goes with thyroid issues and all, like it's cyclical, right?
You bet.
And so many of these things, you can either spiral down or you can spiral out. But that intention is the only way that you climb out of those holes. And maybe you just start with one thing. Then you add, the next thing after you create the habit.
That's right.
So all of those things have really, in my life, helped me a lot. And of course, I'm still trying, but
we all are. Yeah.
And the tension is always going to be there in anything in life. That tension, it's how we manage that tension with intention. And that to me it's like the fish. You stay in the middle of that stream where the current is. That's where the life is. The ones that get off the side, those are the ones that die off. They get lazy or whatever. You have to stay in the current and make it to where that tension feels healthy. It's not going to feel healthy at first. It's going to hurt, right?
That's exactly
There's going to be pain points that come up, but it just gives you things to address as you go. And then as you create the habit, now you're in that stream, and then you're just kind of humming.
Then it does get easy. It's very simple. It's very simple what you're supposed to do, swim in that stream, right?
Yeah.
But it may not be easy because we're all distracted, or maybe the current, starts wanting to pull you off and you got
Social issues, anything.
Eventually, that consistency gets easy.
Yeah.
And it does. It gets easy. It's easy for me. I know what it's like to be sick. I'm not ever going back there. You could not pay me enough money to go back there or to go open up a frozen pizza right now. I mean, I had to I was on food stamps for 5 years when I got divorced and lost everything. And I mean, I fed my kids. Oh my gosh, the stuff I fed them shouldn't be allowed.
Because it's cheap, because it's for the kids.
I did not know that it was killing these kids.
Yeah.
One child, it didn't seem to hurt, and the other one, she has some genetic SNPs and some MTHFR things that I need to, I wish I had known better. I didn't know better.
Right.
And we have a short amount of time to change the trajectory of these children's lives.
Yeah.
Short amount of time. At 10 years old, they're not driving off to Taco Bell or McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or wherever, right? Or going out for pizza with their friends. We're in charge of what comes in that house.
And we're setting them up for success or for failure.
You bet. Oh, well, I don't want them to be so sensitive, Dani, that, they can't eat anything. That's not the goal here.
Yeah.
The goal is to get their little gut and their microbiome healthy. Get those kids outside, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Their shoes off. Oh, there's parasites out there. Oh, forget that. Get your shoes off. Let those kids eat some dirt and, let them play. We know the African children over in Africa have the best microbiome of anybody. And they poop about 16 ounces of poop a day, which I do talk about in the book, right? And we've got like 5 ounces of poop coming out of us.
Right.
Not much.
Yeah. Elvis didn't have but like 1 ounce.
Isn't that
when
crazy?
He died.
Isn't it?
I just made that up.
Oh, you're funny. Yeah, that would
He
be
was in
my
bad
worst
shape.
fear, dying naked on a toilet or in the shower or somebody coming in just finding me. Oh, my Lord. Okay, that side railed off badly over there. That roller coaster went off. But the thing is, these kids and this you're not going to make them sensitive to everything. Feed them real food. If they do go eat the birthday cake with their friends, they're not going to experience as bad of, if symptoms if they eat it every day.
Right.
It's a little treat. I mean, it's not about never eating. I leave for Paris next Tuesday. I'm going on a solo trip by myself.
All right.
And guess what? Guess what Dani Williamson's going to do? I'm going to Paris. I've not eaten a chocolate croissant in 15 years. Well, I am going, and I'm going to have the croissant.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have the gelato. Or no, not the gelato. I'm going to have the cappuccino there, and I'm going to drink the wine. And I try not to drink much wine anymore because let me tell you, that's not our friend when it comes to sleep or memory.
No.
There's not one study that shows.
Yeah. The more wine you drink, the less memory you have.
You bet, without a shadow of a doubt. Well, my grandmother drank every day. Well, let me tell you about your grandma and your great-grandma. She worked. She didn't sit on her butt all day.
Exactly.
That's right. Not
And they
that
were
we sit
sweating
on
it
her
out.
butt. I don't mean that, so don't send me hate mails. We work on our computer. She didn't have a computer or a cell phone that she was scrolling on, right? That woman was out there wringing chicken necks, chickens, and cutting them. My grandma was. I mean, she was busy.
Yeah.
So she worked her wine off, you know. But she didn't drink wine. But anyway, I will go eat what I want when I go to Paris.
Yeah.
I will do what I want, and I will live my best life over there because that's Europe. And guess what? Their wheat doesn't affect it. Doesn't have the glyphosate on it. It's not, hybridized over there. We're eating ancient wheat over in Europe.
Yep.
And we had 3 strands of wheat when Jesus walked this earth.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
We have over 25,000 strands of hybridized wheat in America right now.
Crazy.
And what they do to that wheat before they harvest it is absolutely criminal and malpractice. Yeah. Dumping that glyphosate on there so it dries out so there's no
Monsanto.
mold, which mold is great. I mean, mold is not good. We don't want mold in our wheat, but, they turn it over so fast. We don't have Jesus's wheat, if you believe in Jesus, right? And I do. That golden wheat, that tall wheat, it's about 18 inches tall and it's white.
Correct. You're exactly right.
It's killing us here.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Here's what I'll say. We have so much more to talk about. This has been awesome. I love hanging out.
I love what I do.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. And I could talk on a million different, I go down every rabbit hole. So I'm sorry that.
Well, we've got more holes to go down. So we're going to look for some more rabbits on our next segment. we're going to say at the end of this segment, know what you're eating, know what you're drinking, know your environment, know what you're breathing. All right. And so those three things and living intentionally is probably the biggest takeaway, from what we're talking about here on this segment. So what I'll do is I'll just say, hey, look for part 2. And we're going to get in the weeds a little bit on how she diagnoses people, maybe some examples, and talk about those environmental concerns as it relates to whenever she sees something with a client to say, hey, maybe there's an environmental issue here, and what some of those triggers might be or some of those factors might be. Okay? So know what you're eating, know what you're drinking, and know what you're breathing. Thanks for watching.